Genesis 34 tells a tragic story, one that has echoed through the ages as a tale of sorrow and betrayal. Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, ventures out to visit the women of Shechem, unaware of the dark fate that awaits her. Shechem, a Canaanite prince, notices her. He's immediately struck by her beauty and grace. His admiration quickly turns into an obsessive desire. He cannot take his eyes off her. Overcome by his lust, Shechem seizes Dinah and violates her, committing a grievous sin. This act is not only a personal violation, but a grave sin that casts a dark shadow over both families. It brings immense shame and sorrow upon Dinah and her family, tarnishing their honor. Despite his heinous actions, Shechem's desire for Dinah does not wane. He wishes to make her his wife. He approaches Jacob and his sons, pleading for her hand in marriage, hoping to legitimize his actions. Shechem is willing to pay any bride price they demand, offering gifts and wealth to win their favor. His offer starkly reveals the low status of women in that culture, where they are seen as commodities. Dinah is reduced to a mere object of negotiation, her feelings and trauma disregarded, her voice is silenced, her pain overlooked in the face of political and social bargaining. Enraged by Shechem's actions and the dishonor brought upon their family, Jacob's sons plot a vengeful scheme. They mask their fury behind a facade of negotiation, hiding their true intentions. This sets the stage for a tragic chain of events, a story of betrayal, revenge, and the heavy cost of dishonor. Jacob's sons, fueled by anger and a desire for vengeance, devise a plan. They are determined to make Shechem pay for his actions against their sister Dinah. The brothers gather in secret, their faces set with grim determination. They agree to Shechem's proposal of marriage on one condition: all the men of Shechem must be circumcised. This demand is not just a religious formality, but a strategic move. This was the covenant sign of Jacob's God. It held deep spiritual significance, symbolizing a sacred bond and commitment. The brothers use it as a tool of manipulation. They know that the men of Shechem, in their weakened state, will be vulnerable. Shechem, blinded by his desire for Dinah, agrees. His infatuation clouds his judgment, making him an easy target for the brothers' scheme. He convinces the men of his city to undergo the painful ritual. They reluctantly agree, unaware of the impending danger. This act of deception highlights the theme of betrayal. The trust Shechem places in Jacob's sons is about to be shattered. The sons betray Shechem's trust for their own vengeful purposes. Their actions are driven by a deep-seated need for retribution. The stage is set for a devastating confrontation. The tension in the air is palpable as both sides prepare for the inevitable clash. The consequences will be severe. The brothers' plan, while cunning, will lead to unforeseen repercussions. The cycle of violence is about to spin out of control. What started as a quest for justice will spiral into chaos, affecting everyone involved. While the men of Shechem are recovering from their circumcision, they are in a vulnerable state, unable to defend themselves or their families. Simeon and Levi, two of Jacob's sons, seize this opportunity to launch a brutal and calculated attack. Armed with swords and driven by a fierce sense of vengeance, they enter the city and kill every male they encounter. Their hearts are filled with rage and a thirst for revenge, leaving no room for mercy or compassion. The massacre leaves Shechem devastated, its streets filled with the echoes of violence and loss. Amidst the chaos, Dinah, who had been caught in the crossfire, is rescued by her brothers, adding a personal dimension to the tragedy. Their actions, though presented as a defense of their sister's honor, are undeniably brutal and excessive, crossing the line of justice. Jacob, their father, is horrified by the bloodshed and the extreme measures taken by his sons. He condemns their actions, fearing the repercussions that such violence will bring upon their family and their future. The massacre at Shechem casts a long, dark shadow over Jacob's family, affecting their relationships and their standing in the community. It reveals the destructive power of unchecked anger and the high cost of revenge, serving as a grim reminder of the consequences of such actions. Haunted by the events at Shechem, Jacob receives a divine command: return to Bethel. Bethel is the place where God first made a covenant with him. It is a place of spiritual renewal. Jacob instructs his family to purify themselves and put away their foreign gods. He seeks to restore their relationship with God. At Bethel, God appears to Jacob and reaffirms his covenant promises. God promises to bless Jacob and his descendants. This encounter brings comfort and reassurance. It reminds us that even in the darkest times, God's love and faithfulness endure. Genesis 36 concludes with the genealogy of Esau, Jacob's twin brother. Esau, also known as Edom, settles in the land of Seir. His descendants become the Edomites. This genealogy serves as a reminder of the separation between Jacob and Esau. Their story began with rivalry and deception. Now their descendants form distinct nations. It highlights the lasting impact of choices and the complex dynamics within families. The dramatic events of Genesis 34 to 36 teach us about the consequences of sin, the dangers of unchecked anger, and the enduring power of God's grace.